right, welcome back. This is going to be part 37 of my presentation on the flood and Noah's Ark. And in this one here, we're going to be talking about the magnetic field. I'm going to be throwing out a whole bunch of stuff about it, things that I've learned, and how the magnetic field alone should show that this planet is much younger than the 4.5 billion years that evolutionists or uniformitarian thinking give it. And so this one right here, guys, is a real toughie for them, and it's hard to ignore it, and it's got them a lot. Some evolutionists, they don't have an answer for it, and so but if you'll notice on the screen here, I'm going to start giving you some real neat pictures to look at and some neat information about it. And so, but let's get into this. The Earth's magnetic field. The Earth's magnetic field, the AKA, also known as the geomagnetic field, protects living things from solar radiation. Without it, life could not exist. And we've looked at that before with the magnetosphere and just how the sun has its solar flares and stuff like that. Through seismic studies, scientists are fairly certain, in theory, of the makeup of the globe, even though the outer 20-mile average thick crust has never been penetrated by drilling. Now, you got the different thicknesses depending on the way the land is, where you're measuring at, I should say. It's 3.7 to 6.8 miles thick in the ocean, and 15 to 56 miles or so on the continents, because you got, some continents are going to be a little thicker because of mountain ranges and stuff like that. Like an invisible red light. This is some really neat information about birds and the magnetic field. Migratory birds sense the Earth's magnetic field through their vision and use a built-in compass to determine their position and direction. Thanks to this ability, known as magnetoreception, the birds know where to head when they migrate and how to get back to their nesting sites. A new study showed that migratory birds primarily use the magnetic inclination, the dip angle between Earth's magnetic field and the surface of their nesting site, as their cue for relocating the spot. Specific magnetic inclination signals migratory birds to stop, like an invisible red light. The authors of the study suggest that migratory birds learn the inclination angle even before leaving their nesting sites, which is absolutely just amazing. And so now looking at the Earth and the crust here, you've got that arrow. I'm pointing to the Earth's crust. It's really thin. When you look at the Earth as a whole, it's really it's not that thick at all. But 20-mile average depth. Now, we think of 20 miles as, wow, that's pretty thick. But when you look at the Earth as a whole, it really doesn't seem so thick. And so, but that's it there. The mantle, mainly solid, is 1,760 to 1,900 miles thick. And so I got that little space there. That's what I'm talking about, the mantle. And then the outer core, iron and nickel, molten liquid, where the electric current in the magnetic field is produced. It's 1,400 miles thick. And then you got the inner core, iron and nickel, solid from pressure. It's 780 miles in radius. And so how the magnetic field is produced is open for debate. But it is believed that the Earth's core is made up of both liquid and solid iron. Geophysics researchers have stated there is currently no way to know what kind of event could have created the distinct layer within the inner core or when. Now, I thought that was really neat because there's a Bible verse that really speaks to this. In Jeremiah 31:37, this is King James Version, it states, "Thus saith the Lord, if heaven can be measured and the foundations of the earth be searched out beneath," look at that, "and the foundations of the earth searched out beneath, I will also cast off all the seed of Israel for all they have done, saith the Lord," which is basically saying Israel will never be forgotten for the Lord. Because just as I've stated just now, all of what I'm talking about in the earth's core is just a theory, guys. It's a theory. They don't know. They can't, they've never been to it. And so it's just in theory. But the Bible even states that. And I doubt they'll ever know because the Bible states it. And the foundations of the earth searched out beneath. It's not going to happen. All right, some more notes here. Go down to the bottom where it says measurements of the magnetic field began in 1829, and I also found a date of 1845. So, those are the two dates that I found. On a worldwide basis to determine the state of the field at any point in time. Uniformitarian evolution model scientists have proposed a self-exciting dynamo in the core with slowly circulating fluid flows and molten iron and nickel in the Earth's outer core, capable of generating electrical currents which sustain and add to the magnetic field for billions of years. The energy fueling this movement is thought to be from the Earth's rotation and its internal heat. Somehow, this energy is converted into magnetic energy without an overall energy loss. Now, I've got a note right there just underneath that. It says the self-starting and self-exciting dynamo theory theorizes that reversals occur when the fluid motions cause the electrical currents to slowly decay all the way down to zero, then build up again in a reversed orientation. And so now right there in that center where it says outer core, iron and nickel, that's the area that we're talking about. And so that's where the electrical current in the magnetic field is produced. Again, they really, in some point, they don't know. This is still just theory. The alternate idea is that the field is generated by electrical currents circulating in the outer core, freely decaying in a rather stationary fluid as opposed to those generated by fluid movements. Such electrical currents are known to exist and would decay in a manner consistent with the known field decay rate, due primarily to electrical resistance. Thus, the freely decaying electrical current theory, this is the creation model, fits modern observations of the decay rate quite well. And that note right there just below that is rapid and complicated reversals are an essential part of the free decay theory also, once the effects of Noah's flood are considered. And so now, this right here is the mid-oceanic ridge. It was discovered in the 1950s. It wraps around the Earth with a length of 40 to 46,000 miles long. And so that right there, guys, is it. And it is believed, and I do put my hand on it also, that this is where the water from the fountains of the deep that came from that flooded this planet. Most of the water that flooded this planet came from underneath the earth and the crust of the earth. That's where it came from. And this right here is a split that goes around the entire globe. And so it does exist, it is there, and they believe that this, at least creation scientists believe that this is where the crack came from when the waters burst up. And so, but we're going to be seeing this again. This isn't the only time we're going to be seeing it. So just remember this, but this is the mid-oceanic ridge. Going on, it says, at a few places along the mid-oceanic ridge, magnetic patterns on one side of the ridge are almost a mirror image of those on the other side. The plate tectonic theory gained wide acceptance in the 1960s when this surprising discovery was misinterpreted. Some people proposed that these variations were caused by periodic reversals of the Earth's magnetic field, although there is no theoretical understanding of how that could happen. Supposedly, over millions of years, molten material rises at the edge, solidifies, and then divides and moves in the opposite directions, away from the ridge. As the magma solidifies, its magnetic orientation locks in the orientation of the Earth's magnetic field at the time. Thus, a record of past flips of Earth's magnetic field is preserved in rocks at different distances from the ridge. There are no magnetic reversals on the ocean floor, and no compass would reverse direction if brought near the alleged reversal band. And so, again, a big debate on magnetic reversals. And so, again, you've got the two different theories. You got the uniformitarian, which is millions and millions of years, and then you got the creation model, which is, again, a very young Earth. And this split here happened at the flood, at the beginning of the flood, when the fountains of the deep broke open. Now, looking at this picture, it says, however one moves across the mid-oceanic ridge, magnetic intensities fluctuate. Someone merely drew a line through these fluctuations and labeled everything below this average intensity as a reversal. And so there you go there. And so basically what they're saying is, in the creation model, it's nothing more than just intensities. It's just fluctuating intensities. Now, looking at this chart here, it says accurate measurements taken for over 160 years have shown the strength of Earth's magnetic field to be declining. Now, guys, this is pretty scary here if you get to thinking about it, especially if you're an evolutionist. At the current rate of decline, the magnetic field would have been too strong for life to exist on Earth as little as, get this, guys, 10,000 years. 10,000 years. There's no way this Earth could be millions and millions of years old. There's no way. Now, if you look at the years there over to the right, it gives you the year and then the field strength. And so it shows you just how much the magnetic field is losing intensity. The geomagnetic reference field, the most accurate ever taken, show a net loss of 1.4% from 1970 to 2000. It is theorized that the field's energy has halved every 1,465 years or so. Now, this right here is the freely decaying model, a half strength lost every 1,400 years. And it says the calculated half-life of the magnetic field strength is about 1,400 years. If the rate is constant, then the field must have been stronger in the past and will be smaller in the future. If we apply the same sort of uniformitarian assumptions used in the radioisotope dating, which we will get into, we're going to get into the radioisotope dating. That's what you use to date rocks. That's what, your lava flows and stuff like that. And so, but we're going to get into that. So it goes radio dating to the magnetic field. The consequences of its decay in the future are significant. The measured half-life of 1,400 years implies that 1,400 years from today, the magnetic field will be one half the strength that it is now. It will continue to decay at this rate, with half of its strength decaying every 1,400 years until sometime in the future, say 10,000 years AD, 10,000 AD, when it will, for all practical purposes, cease to exist. And so, guys, that's pretty scary to think about. And so if you look up there at that little chart that I made, you got the you got where we are. If you look towards the middle where it says 1000 AD and goes to the right, you got 2025 AD. That's the time that I'm recording this video. If you start going back, 1000 AD, it was 40% stronger than it is now. You go back 10,000 years before Christ, it was too strong for life to exist. Earth is less than 10,000 years old. It's got to be. And then you go on past that, let's just say 10 to 15,000 years, it's too hot for water to be on the earth. So guys, just the Bible's got it right on the money. When you take the Bible timeline, the biblical timeline, it gives you a timeline of about 6,000 years. 6,000 years, which matches up with what they're saying here. It's less than 10,000 years old. That's exactly what it would be. You know, the biblical, there is more science in the Bible than you could ever imagine. If you want to know our history, where we are now and where we're going in the future, the Bible has it. It's a history book, guys. It's a history book, and it even tells you what's going to happen in the future. It tells it all. And so, but the evolution, all by blind chance, all nothing but a theory, guys. A theory made up by man. And I'm telling you, 10,000 years, there wouldn't be no life on this planet. It couldn't exist 10,000 years before Christ. And go 10,000 years after Christ, there would be no magnetic field left to protect the planet from the solar flares and the solar radiation. It's going to eliminate life on the planet. I'm telling you what, it really opens your eyes when you just looking at this one dating method alone. Now, Earth's magnetic field, which provides such amazing protection, is generated by a circulating electrical current in the planet's outer core. As it flows through the metallic core, this current producing the field inherently loses energy or decays due to the natural resistance to its flow. The energy of its movement is dissipated as heat. This decay has been measured in real time over many years. Long agers required dubious dynamo theories to try to explain how this magnetic field could still be in existence after alleged 4.5 billion years age for the Earth, within about 10,000 years of them at most. Even the strongest field should have decayed to nothing, allowing cosmic rays to wipe out all life on Earth. And this quote right here was made by Dr. Jonathan Sarfati. Great guy. I've got a book entitled The Genesis Account. Absolutely amazing, where he gives not only a historical side to it, but a scientific account to it. Awesome book, guys. But yeah, they got a real problem with the magnetic field. We're going to go ahead and we're going to stop right there. But guys, this right here is pretty substantial. I mean, when you think about that magnetic field alone, before I even get into the other stuff, carbon-14 and radioisotope dating, the magnetic field alone shows that this planet is younger than 10,000 years. 10,000 years. There's not anything going to be anything above 10,000 years, or should I say 10,000 years BC, before Jesus. And so there would be no life on Earth. And then 10,000 years past Jesus, 10,000 years AD, I mean, there's not going to be anything left. That right there shows you, and they can see it. The thing is, they can see it. It has a steady decay rate. It's decaying. Everything is winding down. It's like the universe was set up like a clock, and that clock is ticking down. It's ticking down. Just everything is ticking down. And so it shows that the thing was set up at some point in our past, and after the sin, then it started decaying. We're now everything, not only the stars, the planets, now the sun, the magnetic field, us, we're all getting worse and worse. We're decaying. We're getting worse as we go on. And so you can see that an intelligent force, an intelligent entity put this all together at one point in time. And so, but at any rate, guys, we're going to keep moving on. I hope you have a great day. I love you, and I hope the Lord blesses you real good. Bye-bye.